my next guest. He's been managing wealth for over 2 decades. And, well, he tells me he's never, ever had an election, right, change his views about business strategy or investing. But this time is different. I want to bring in Rob Luna, Wealth Academy founder Rob Luna. You know, Rob, it's interesting because this stock market seems to have fell in love with the idea of a Trump presidency. I mean, it's pretty clear. You can see the odds of Trump winning, and you can see in fact, let me put you on hold 1 second so we can listen to former President Trump himself.
We have a lot of bad things coming up. You could end up in a depression of the 1929 variety, which would be a devastating thing. Took many years, took decades to recover from it.
We were saying, Rob, you normally ignore politics, except you say this time is different. And ironically, I think President Trump might have queued you up perfectly, talking about some of the fears that he has. Explain the fears that you have.
I mean, it's true, Charles. Look, and a lot of people tell me, Rob, why are you talking about politics? I never heard you talk about politics before. It's especially never influenced your investment decisions. But look, Charles, what are politics? They're going to dictate the social decisions, which is our health care, what's being put in front of our kids, our safety, and the economic issues of how we pay our bills. So if you're not talking politics, what are you talking about right now, Charles? And so look, when you take a look at this next election, I agree with everything that President Trump is saying, but also when you take a look at the economy, why is it different this time? Because this time it is different. Artificial intelligence is going to be taking tons of jobs away. Let's just start there. If we don't have a domestic energy policy, how are we going to create the high-paying jobs to replace those jobs that we lose? Regulation, we know there's going to be more regulation, which is already going to strangle out small businesses. Taxes are going to go up. The standard deduction is going to be cut in half. So when you look at what's going on with this country right now, Charles, we need strong leadership. We need strong economic policy. And when you look at this latest VP pick that Kamala Harris has made, that's just doubling it down on this leftist agenda that is killing our society. So I think, Charles, this election really is more important. How I advise the businesses on what they do, how I advise investors is going to be dependent on that outcome.
You know, it's interesting, too, as I was pointing out when President Trump walked up to the, is that the market agrees with you. There's no disputing this. As Trump rallied, the stock market rallied. As Trump started to come down, the stock market has come down as well. We're going to talk more about this later in the show, too, with Rebecca Walzer, who's kind of been warning about this kind of stuff. I want to talk about last time you were on the show, because you had been taking profits in technology. You told us this. So listen, kudos to you, because tech has come down a lot, particularly the Mag 7, and now they're under the trend line. When would you consider getting back in?
Well, look, I think there's going to be a lot of volatility. Historically, there is. We know in these 2 months, now you add all this uncertainty that we just spoke about into the market. I don't think this is a market where you want to be a superhero right here. I think you want to, take some time. That's why I said a few weeks ago, take some off the table, raise some cash. Look, when you get a name like Amazon, Amazon's going to be able to weather this storm pretty good, down 20% off the highs. Maybe you start to DCA into something like that. But outside of that, I would stick to some of these tried and true names. I wouldn't be buying technology unless the individual name is down 20% or more. Then I would start to dollar cost average into it to the names that you think could do well. But look, I think this is also the time, Charles, a lot of people are over levered. If you don't have cash to get you through this time, it's not too late to sell.
All right. I'm sorry? So I got a minute to go. You also warned about credit cards the last time you were on, and now we're starting to see where people spend credit cards on airfares down prohibitively, furniture, appliances, gasoline, recreational stuff. Still going to restaurants and still hanging out locally, but that's in lieu of taking a trip overseas. How close do you think the consumer is to breaking, and is the Fed on the right side of this?
I think the consumer's strapped. I think they've tapped out credit lines. PPP loans are gone. All those things are wearing off. They already moved back in, Gen Z. They're on their parents. They can't really pull many more levers to keep this economy going. That's why interest rates, what the Fed does is going to matter. That's why jobs do matter. I think it's going to go back to the real thing. People have to have jobs, and they have to save more than they're spending. And I don't think that's happening, especially with this younger generation, Charles.
Rob Luna, you're a straight shooter, my man. I'm glad we had you on today. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.